and the officer made contact with the defendant asleep in the living room. The defendant woke up in
Whoa, no means no. Doesn't mean it's the holidays, doesn't mean I have a birthday, a court order.
This story is shocking right from the beginning. An officer walks into a man's home while he's asleep. No warrant, no clear warning. The man wakes up to find a uniformed officer standing in his living room. Completely unexpected. There was no emergency, no permission, and no clear reason for entering the home. Even more surprising, the officer seemed annoyed, as if the homeowner was a problem. Situations like this raise serious concerns about personal rights and whether basic legal limits are being ignored. It leaves you wondering if actions like this will ever bring real consequences.
Good morning, Mr. Villagas.
Good morning.
Sir, you're charged with failure to give information upon striking a highway fixture. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. Okay.
Yes, Judge. On December 28, 2024, the officer was dispatched to apartments in Harris County, Texas, in regard to a single vehicle accident that hit the mailbox of a residence. The officer observed the defendant's motor vehicle with heavy front end damage, but did not locate any driver or occupants inside the vehicle. During an inventory, the officer located the defendant's photo ID and Texas utility bill that came back to the defendant's name and address, approximately 1.4 miles from the accident. The registered owner of the mailbox came back to the defendant of the utility bill and his address. The officer went to the defendant's residence, noticed the garage door open and garage interior to the residence wide open. The officer made contact at the residence, wanted to make sure the motor vehicle was not stolen and wanted to make sure the owner of the vehicle was okay. The officer went inside the residence after knocking and announcing his presence several times under the community caretaking doctrine, and the officer made contact with the defendant asleep in the living room. The defendant woke up in
Whoa.
Yes, Judge. It was because they had...
Whoa.
Yes, the vehicle was damaged and he wanted to make sure the driver was okay. So he announced himself and went into the residence because the door was wide open.
Wow.
And then it was after that he saw the defendant asleep in the living room, and the defendant woke up and immediately said the car accident, that he did not cause any injuries or any trouble, and that he was driving his motor vehicle 2 to 3 hours prior, and that he was on his way to drop it off at a mechanic when his vehicle was hit. The defendant called the insurance company, and the defendant walked home because no one arrived on scene, and the defendant was going to pick up his motor vehicle in the morning. And the officer made contact with the complainant, who stated she heard a loud bang and observed damages, approximately $1,025.
So, are you telling me that he did stay though?
No. What happened, Your Honor, is that he struck the mailbox at the apartment, and the defendant said that he called his insurance. No one came to the scene, so he walked home. And the officer, when he arrived, saw the empty...
Did he make an attempt to make a phone call at the scene to anyone?
All he said is that he called the insurance company. That's the only person that he had stated he called. And then after that, he walked home because no one arrived on scene. And then that's when the officer arrived and saw his empty vehicle damaged. And then he found a utility bill and the ID.
I have so many questions. Let's do this. I'm going to appoint you a lawyer, or you have a lawyer, right? Let's do this. I'm going to hold off on finding probable cause at the moment. Let me wait for your lawyer to get here. We'll revisit PC here momentarily. Just go ahead and take a seat for me if you don't mind in the jury box. Let's wait for your lawyer to get here and then we'll go forward. Michael. Yeah, come on up.
Mr. Jill Villagas, Your Honor.
Did you look at PC?
I think we're prepared for argument.
Okay. Morgan, are you ready?
Yes, Judge. This is Villagas, correct?
Villagas, yeah. Go for it. Okay. Ball's in your court.
Your Honor, Mr. Villagas, when he climbed to the mailbox pole, he didn't stop. He got out of the car. There's no one to talk to. And so from there, he went to his residence, Your Honor. But, it's not a case where he didn't identify himself or anything. And then we don't know what the restitution amount is going to be for the mailbox.
My concern was that according to the statute, right, it says that you're supposed to, I don't even know.
Take reasonable steps to locate and notify the owner or person in charge of the property of the collision.
What time? Was this the middle of the night?
1:50 in the morning.
I don't think it'd be reasonable to knock on anyone's door. I don't think anyone would open.
I mean, reasonable steps. You know where the person lives. You hit their mailbox. It would be pretty easy to walk up and knock on the door.
Is that reasonable? I mean, if you go up to someone's door at 2 a.m. and you start knocking on the door, are you going to scare the...
Probably, Judge, but I would want to know if it were my mailbox and somebody ran their car into it.
Would you open the door and go out?
I would look through the peephole and I'd see.
I guess there are other measures I guess you could take theoretically.
Do something.
Right. I guess leave.
Right.
Maybe leave a note on the door.
Okay. All right. Mr. Biagas, come up. I mean, reasonable measures, right? And I guess that would. Have you run his license? See if he has a valid taxi driver license.
It's an out-of-state Florida license that appears valid in our system.
Okay. Mr. Biagas, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you not to drive any vehicle unless you have car insurance in your name. Do you understand? If I find that you're driving without a license and or liability insurance in your name, it's not going to go well for you. Do you understand?
Or they'll quietly fade away without accountability. Here's what makes it even more troubling. The officer arrived at a location, didn't find anyone there, checked paperwork inside a vehicle, traced it back to an address, and decided to go there in the middle of the night. He knocked, but when no one answered, he chose to go inside anyway. At that hour, most people would assume someone was breaking in, not performing a wellness check. The law is very clear. Without an emergency or permission, a home is off limits. Even suspicion alone doesn't justify entering someone's house. What stands out most is that the officer truly believed this was acceptable, which shows how unclear the boundaries of authority may have become. Imagine waking up half asleep, hearing footsteps in your home, and realizing it's not an intruder, but law enforcement who entered uninvited. That would alarm anyone.
Okay. You've got a lawyer. Listen to your lawyer. He'll take care of you. I will waive your appearance so you don't have to waste your time coming to court, but you have to stay in touch with Mr. Famine. He'll tell you when you have to come back to court. If he tells me he can't get a hold of you or you pick up a new case, I'm going to revoke your bond, put you in jail. No more PR bonds. You understand? Okay, guys. Any conditions you think?
I'm okay with your conditions, Judge. Just no driving without
Yeah,
insurance.
just be careful out there, okay?
He does have insurance. Can you rip the CW?
Yes.
And then we can settle it.
You did have insurance,
Yes.
hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Great. Okay, all right, man. Take care. Have fun. Can you file that? Do you mind those conditions? All right, Vic, you ready? Wow, really? Nice.
Their first day as well.
Hi.
Hi, Judge. Good morning. Permission to approach?
Yes, ma'am. How's it going?
Hi, Judge. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year?
I'm here, Ms. Shaniqua Smith, Judge.
Okay.
I the court with an update on it. We have everything submitted for the DWI PTI program. However, Ms. Smith attempted to get the interlock device on her vehicle, but she has an electric vehicle, so she was told that it would not be able to get placed on her car. So Attorney Carter has been communicating with Beadle to try to figure out what we need to do then.
He's no longer here, so
We haven't heard back from him, so that's why.
yeah, he's not with the office anymore.
Okay. Okay.
Alex, do you have any idea what they do with electric vehicles?
So we do have information that she was approved for the DWI program. And then they emailed a procedure to follow. So presumably if she still follows the procedure outlined in the email sent from Beadle prior to his departure, then
Well, the issue isn't necessarily the procedure. It's what do we do when we can't get the interlock device installed on the vehicle, which is part of the procedure based on her having an electric
Does she
car.
have another vehicle?
No, Judge. And I know she has to drive, so she can't do the portable because then she has to sign the affidavit, which would say she's sworn to not be able to drive.
so in that case, it would probably be best to reach out to Brenda Gomez or Bernadette Habe, who's in charge of right now the DWIs.
Hold on a second. Let's do that. And then your client has bond violations too. Do you know that?
No, Judge, that I did not know.
Shanika Smith, come up. I'm printing this out for you.
Judge.
Who is the other one? Gomez, and who is the other one? Alex?
Bernadette Habe. I can,
Oh, Bernadette, she's Miss Habe. She's the one in charge of everything, right?
yeah, she's the one overseeing.
I mean, if you want to go talk to her, but she's got bond violations. Yeah, you guys go figure out, but you've got bond violations, man. I don't know what we're gonna do now. Okay, please.
Thank you, I'll step aside, thank you. Have permission to approach?
Yep.
Would you like me to ask Ms. Smith to come up again? Ms. Smith? And I spoke to Wolf and I didn't realize he had already had a conversation with her judge. And I will. I did speak to Wolven Carter and he advised that he had spoken to Ms. Smith as well regarding the possibility of this being the result. He and I spoke to her again just a moment ago. We were out there on call, and at this time, Judge, Ms. Smith, that we were going to have her speak on her own behalf, Judge, because I think it's important for her to take ownership for what this report shows.
I don't care. I'm putting an ankle monitor on you now. If you ever test positive for alcohol again, I'm going to put you in jail. That's it. No means no. Doesn't mean it's the holidays. Doesn't mean I have a birthday. A court order is a court order. And when you don't follow court orders, there's only one place that we have you go. There's no tolerance anymore. And I don't care what you come up here and say, whether it's mouthwash, a tequila lollipop, hair dye, I don't care. And I don't care who you're with. A second violation. Do you understand? Today you will get an ankle monitor. And I'm going to tell you now, it is extremely finicky. So best beware of anything that you put in your body. Okay, no more. That's it. Okay. As far as the other, I don't know. What I would suggest is, email if you can now, Brenda Gomez, and see how we handle it, because I don't know. All I know is that this case is nearly 200 days old, and now we have violations, and I'm ready to put this thing to bed. I'm not going to hold it anymore.
Yes,
so,
understood.
I'll give you guys to the end of the week, figure out what we need to do.
Okay.
But you're walking a very, very thin line. Do you understand? All right. So, Felicia, if we can amend it to put it on today, please. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you.
The second case is just as frustrating. Judge Fleer made it clear he wasn't interested in excuses. When the defendant brushed off the situation, the judge immediately ordered an ankle monitor. You could see how tired both sides were, she of being restricted, and the judge of hearing the same explanations over and over. Once alcohol restrictions were mentioned, it was obvious this wasn't her first issue with compliance. What stands out about Judge Fleer is his direct approach. He doesn't soften his words or delay decisions. He runs a courtroom with firm control, clearly shaped by years of experience. Many people don't realize that even a small violation, like having a drink, can break court rules and lead to serious consequences. It may seem strict, but that's how accountability works. It does make you think. Do some people only change when consequences finally catch up to them? I'm curious what you think about Judge Fleer. Some say he's too lenient. Others appreciate his style. Personally, I find his approach interesting. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.